is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/BGUnlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are doing our top 10 games that we don't like, but the other person does. That's the best way we can put it. So essentially, games that I don't like, but Brad does. He's doing games that he doesn't like, but I do. This is going to be an interesting list because normally in our top 10s, we if there's a game that comes up that like you really like, we just banter back and forth. But this one we made specifically to shit on the other person and their horrible tasting games.
There better not be any crossover either.
And there shouldn't be any crossover. That'd be funny. It's like, wait, no, I thought you liked it. No.
We'll see.
That'd be funny. No, because essentially what we did is we both looked at each other's top 100 and just kind of picked 11, a dishonorable mention, out of those that we personally don't like. That was the easiest way.
Yeah.
My initial one was thinking of games that we've played together and like, oh man, I didn't like that.
Well, I did that too. So I looked at your top 100 to kind of help fill out, make sure I wasn't missing anything. And I want to preface this by these games on this list I don't like, but I don't detest some of them. Like, they're ones that I won't own and I won't play again. That I might play again if somebody wants to play them. But
that was going to be what I was going to say was essentially like the first 5, or 6, 11 to like number 6. If someone was like, "Hey, would you play this?" I'd be like, "Sure," but I'm not going to go out of my way. It's not my favorite game. But 5 to 1, I'll never touch. Like I actually hate these games.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be fun. This is going to be fun. So we will just go ahead and get started, and I will start with the dishonorable mention, and that is Call to Adventure. I don't know if you're like, I don't like that game. You're like, what? So Call to Adventure is a honorable mention on this list because it's not the worst game. I tried to sort these out by it was almost impossible because initially it was gonna be like how much I disliked the game versus how much you liked it. But by looking at your top 100, it's like, okay, if you have a 95, it didn't work out that way. So, but yeah, so you like Call to Adventure because you like the character creation and like kind of the branching narratives of storytelling. I mean, this is kind of why it's on. It's not, this game wasn't the worst. I just felt it was a little too abstract for my taste. Like we were talking about for another game earlier that I don't like whenever you have to interpret like kind of theme to make sense of what's going on whenever you're actually playing the game. My type of gaming, especially with thematic games, is like I like the game to be incredibly immersive, and I can add more details to that. Like for example, in Reichbusters, if I shoot like if I'm a sniper and I shoot a Nazi down the hallway, I can be like, oh, the Nazi's peeking around the corner, and then just get like that. It helps my brain because I'm not like the best like storyteller. But Call to Adventure just didn't really seem to do any of that for me. Like it was a lot of very like, okay, well you want to shake up these runes, and then these runes let you get this, and it's like, okay, so you're kind of building the branch, but not really. And at the very end, you have to tell your whole story. It just fell flat. It just kind of fell flat for me. And I guess that's a book series.
No, there is an expansion, standalone expansion that's coming out. That's the Stormlight stuff that's based on a Sanderson series. So people are really excited because they're going to start bringing that Stormlight series into that now. So people are getting jazzed about it.
And see, that would probably be pretty cool if I read books anymore. That would probably help a little bit. But yeah, I mean, another horrible game. Like if someone were to be like, "Oh, it's my favorite game," I'd be like, "Yeah, all right," but no, not for me.
Yeah. All right, my number 11 is BattleCon.
Really? That's depressing.
It's again kind of like what you were saying with that. You know, I would, if you wanted to play it, I'd play it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more 1v1 fighter style games. Not a lot, but there's other ones that I would prefer to play. And we've talked about it on a couple of lists before, like the the whole finisher thing did not make sense to me.
It actually got fixed.
Okay, yeah. So the version I played, this number 11, then, but back then it was like you had to have your ass almost dead before you could start doing a finishing move, which doesn't make any sense.
It was essentially their catch-up mechanic,
right. And then it's just, there's so much. It's overwhelming because there's so many things, which I know is hypocritical for some of the things that I play. But
well, it's also like, I mean, I don't know how many like 1v1 like fighter games you've played, like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, any of those.
Like video games. Stuff.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Video games. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of there's something, because I can play a video game with like and just pick a character and have fun and kind of figure them out. But for some reason, the card game it's slower, so like you really have to think a lot more. I don't know. I feel like a video game, you don't have to really analyze your opponent as much, but here you're like, okay, what options are they gonna do? Instead of just kind of like, this is what I want to do. I actually kind of get that. The finisher mechanic, they with their new Kickstarter, they overhauled everyone.
That's good. And you know, and again, this may be something that's added. I just played the one box. I did a few 1v1 matches against different people and stuff.
Yeah.
As I like my fighting games to have a little bit of theme to it.
Yeah.
Or not theme, because that's wrong, because the fighters are very thematic and that, but like we'll think Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Or the Dice Throne stuff, you know, stuff like that. There's stuff. But yeah, and like I said, I would play it. It's just not my favorite.
Right. Okay.
Deal.
Cool. Yeah, I think the finishers now, I think they implemented like what's called focus, that you can add up to your like you just collect that and you can spend that to do your ability. But there's still a trigger, but I don't think you have to be like 2 health down or so.
Right.
So yeah. All right. My number 10 of games that you like that I don't is actually a game that I used to like, and it was the first game I think you and I played together. And it is Unfair.
Oh yeah.
So Unfair is kind of, if no one's familiar, it's essentially Roller Coaster Tycoon. The board game. And the reason why this game is because I used to like it. I used to actually kind of like the idea of the build up your park, and then that you had the different, like the smash up style where you have an amalgamation of different themes that you could have. But one, I feel like the themes aren't as represented as they should be. If it was like a vampire and a gangster and that was what was mixed together, I never felt like I had a vampire gangster theme park. It was just, I had a card that said the Blood Ride or whatever. It's like, oh great, okay. So it wasn't too visually immersive or thematically immersive. But the biggest thing about this game that I don't like is, one, the targeting aspect of, like, I can physically, and you can play where this doesn't happen, but you're kind of missing out on the whole purpose. But you can actively go out and shut people's major rides down to where they're just like, great, so everything I've built up for you just
wipe. Well, it's just that one turn, though.
It is the one turn. It does come back. But that one turn can be huge. Yeah. And that wouldn't be that big of a deal if it wasn't so swingy with the event cards. That's really kind of what, like, those two together, it's just like, great, this entire game, I didn't draw any cards that let me fuck with you. Like, but you got all of them, so... Alright, I guess my rides just don't work. For some reason, I'm still in business, though.
This is one that I still like, but it has fallen quite a bit. Like, I think a few years ago, it was almost maybe top 10.
It was high up there. I remember it had fallen. Still on your top 100, I think, but it wasn't that.
It'll still be in my top 100, but it's like it's probably going to be in the 80s or something. It's fallen off quite a bit just because the replayability isn't as good as I was expecting. Now the expansion added some more stuff. The Western and aliens,
right,
and stuff, but people just don't want to play it. And that's one thing that hurts us. And it's like they don't like the.
It's like, because the cutthroat nature just shouldn't be there. It'd be way better if it was honestly just Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you try to build the best theme park.
But the people that are surprised by it and don't like it, that when I explain to them before the game even starts, it's like, well, that's the title.
Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah,
if you don't want that kind of play style, then don't play, you know?
Yeah.
Which they don't.
Exactly. So that's why. I mean, I can't. Simon did this, didn't they?
Simon held. It was Good Games Publishing who did like. I can't think of another thing they did, but Simon kind of came in and helped them.
Yeah. But yeah, it just doesn't work for me like all that much. So that's my number 10.
All right. My number 10 is a game I've played 5 or 6 times. Keep trying to give it chances, and it's not a horrible game. I would still play it more, but I just cannot grasp it very well. And it's one of your best games of all time, and it's Scythe.
Wow.
It's 10 because, like I said, I would play it. I just cannot get I just cannot grok the.
You don't get
every
it?
time I play it, I mean,
Wait, it's all general mechanics? Always has been.
I thought that
was hilarious.
But it's just one of those things, like, I just don't know what it is about it. It doesn't... I think, initially, because when I did the Kickstarter back in the day, I think I went into it expecting an entirely different type of game than what it was. And for some reason, that just colored my whole thing with it. Yeah. Because I went in expecting it to be like this mechs. I mean, you go in and go out and kick some ass, which there is a little bit of that, but it's mostly resource management, action selection. You know, you're doing all that different stuff.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's a game that I would play. I wouldn't play very well because for some reason this is one of those games that I can just not do well.
Have you played different factions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just have
you played the expansions?
No.
Okay.
I just cannot do well in this game at all, and it's just like
the expansions helpful. Well, okay, one expansion just adds 2 more factions. I'm not including that one.
Right.
The Wind's Gambit is probably the best faction or expansion that they have because it increases mobility a lot more, which allows you to spread out, therefore getting different types of resources, which allow you to focus on. In all honesty, I cannot 100% explain to you why this game is my favorite because I know the joke was it's all general mechanics, but even if that's true, it works so flawlessly that it just works. And then the art and the theme, and then especially the Rise of Fenris campaign, which added a bunch of modular stuff. Which my theory is that modular expansions are the best way to go. That game just has so much depth to it, which is why it works so well for me. That's not surprising. I mean, I'm glad it's at number 10, not like number 1.
Well, and that's what I was saying. I'm in the same boat as what you just said. I can't necessarily honestly explain why I don't like it. I think it's just because it doesn't click.
Yeah.
And it's gonna click. Click through. I know it's a great game. I can tell it's a good. I can tell it's a great game.
Right.
It just does not click for me. I just don't enjoy playing it as much because you know how there's games that you just don't. You're just not good at, so you don't have fun playing it.
Right.
You know, and I think that's
I'm trying to think if there's one I'm not good at. I'm great at everything.
That's why I went back to it multiple times.
Yeah.
And tried it with different ways. And
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that's all you can really ask for is like if you at least you kept trying.
Right.
And after 5 plays, I mean, I wouldn't have even given the game that much.
Yeah.
Like if it was, I'd probably do 3 at most, and I'd be like, all right, this isn't working for me.
Well, a couple of guys I game with, this is one of their favorite games too.
Yeah.
So that's what I always.
Because I was gonna say, maybe if you play it with me, but now if you're playing with people, that's their favorite. Yeah. I actually went to a game store a couple days ago, and I was talking to the owner there, and we were just talking about Scythe, and we were going back and forth on which factions are great because I love all of them. But yeah. All right, interesting. I wasn't sure if that was going to be on your list because I remember you saying, I think it was on your top 100, high up there, like I think 90s.
Yeah, and it's probably going to fall off because I just played it here recently again, and that's
and you're just like, this is it. Going on the shit list.
I can tell it's a good game, but it's just
gotcha. All right. Well, my number 9 is kind of in a similar boat. This is one that is actually in a trilogy, loose term there, of games that does something unique, but at the end of the day, I really didn't like this one. Actually, I only like 1 game out of the 3, but this one specifically is Raiders of the North Sea. This one, the only unique thing about it is the place to worker and pick one up. That's brilliant. And all 3 of his games, Architects, Raiders, and Paladins, all have some unique worker placement thing. Shem Phillips and, is it Garfield? Garfield Games?
Garfield Games, yeah.
Whatever they're doing with reinventing worker placement, that's great. My problem is I feel like they focus so hard on making that work that everything is kind of just second nature and doesn't engross me as much. My biggest thing with Raiders of the North Sea was I feel like there wasn't enough resource mitigation. Like, there wasn't enough for you to be able to be like, I really need this resource, but I can't trade it for that, so I have to hope that I can race my opponents to raid these villages. But, oh, nope. Great, they did that one. Okay, what am I gonna do? Okay, I guess I'll plan to go after this one. Nope. Because, like, unless I played this wrong, turn order mattered heavily. And so it's like, okay, if I'm going last, I'm kind of getting fucked because I don't have enough to be able to raid further. So all the close ones people already did, and oh, they got Valkyries. Okay, I can't even really go for Valkyries. So there wasn't enough in the worker placement to mitigate turn order. And I feel like actually going, if there was some way to trade, okay, I trade 2 wood for a stone or whatever, that would have helped because you wouldn't have been so hosed by trying to race and pillage before your opponents. If that's I mean, sure, it's thematic, but I've once again always said theme doesn't make good game mechanics. So that's kind of what fell flat for me, that the placing and picking up just couldn't save. And I've not played the solo, so I don't know.
I was going to say, did you do with both expansions as well?
No, actually, I think it was just the base game.
Okay, the expansions add the Hall of Heroes and Fields of Fame.
No,
those are really cool. And I know they go against your...
The expansion shouldn't fix the game,
And I wouldn't say fix it, because I love the base game.
Right.
But
usually when I say that, it's kind of mainly for me. Like, I shouldn't have to go spend another $40 to make a base game that I already don't like work.
Right. The expansions, it's not that it necessarily fixes, it just adds more cool stuff. Like more variety. Like you can go this way and you can do these battles to gain these fame points and stuff. So it makes it more... It's not just all resources. You can do more stuff.
And that might actually work for that game because just base game, I was like, I don't even remember who won that game whenever we played it, but I was not having a good time.
Yeah.
That in the worker placement game, I feel like there needs to be variety. You have to have, especially if your game is only worker placement, that there has to be that, okay, well, if you're going to go raid, well, I was going to go there, but that's okay, I can still do this. Like, the turn order where it's like, oh man, thank God I'm going first, so I'm able to get, it's just, yeah. So maybe the expansions would fix it. And with these games, I excluded any expansions. Yeah. Like, if they fixed it or not.
I didn't look at expansions.
So yeah, so that's my number 9, Raiders of the North Sea.
Alright.
I almost put Champions of Midgard on this list, but I did play it again at 3, and it was a lot better.
Did you play it with me at 3?
It was me, Kat, and my friend Devin. Okay. And yeah, it was a lot.
Oh, that's right, you borrowed it.
I borrowed it from you.
Yeah,
and it's not. It would have been on this list had I not played it then.
Not a good 2-player. Alright, my number 9 is a game that I've played twice, and I used the same faction both times, so that could color a little bit. That's why it's down on 9, because I wanted to see how I might try it as other factions and as Root.
Oh man. Boo.
Well, right.
Boo. Okay, hold on. Let me ask. What faction did you use?
Cats.
All right, that's kind of the basic faction. I was like, if you use like the birds, the Eerie, I'd be like, that's probably why they're a little bit more complex.
Right. And I don't know. I think a lot of it just has to do with the theme. I'm not into the whole.
You don't like the anthropomorphic.
I mean, Everdell is an outlier for me.
Yeah.
And it's mostly like it can have any theme, but
the
way Everdell plays is why I like that game.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know you played Root.
Yeah, I played it twice with the guys.
Gotcha.
And I wanted to like it. I mean, I'd heard. I mean, everybody raves about it.
Yeah.
Again, it's almost that Scythe thing. I know it's a great game.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. It's just like I don't know. There was just too many. Like there was turns. Like with those cats. Like there was the power move I tried to pull.
Yeah.
Where I tried to get that last little bit of whatever, and then Robert did something, played some stupid card or something that just wrecked me, and then I was just fucked. It was just like, it's
funny because with the factions, funny enough, the same day, whenever I was talking to the owner of that game store about Scythe, we also were talking about Root, and he was talking about, oh, I've never won with the birds, and I was like, no, the birds are fucking OP, but there's this and this. So there's a lot of actual like negotiation, and I mean, at its heart, it's a war game. The problem with the cats, actually, funny enough, is they're the simplest faction to play, but they're the hardest because how many people do you play with? 4?
Yes.
Okay.
3 or 4.
Okay. I'm like remember. three's not bad.
4.
But 4 is a good sweet spot. The problem with the cats is they're the immediate threat because you start out everywhere, so everyone's attacking you.
Right.
So it's like, so you're kind of the quickest to kind of shoot off, but as people start fighting more and more, they're going to be targeting you more than each other, to where you really then have to centralize. But of course, in a game that's asymmetrical, knowing how well your faction is, so it makes sense that after a couple plays, like you wouldn't like it because they're so nuanced. Like the birds are very, it's your programming, so you have to say your cards in. If you don't know how the game works or what people are going to do and how well your faction works, you're most likely not going to do well. And that's said for all of them. So. Yeah, I can see that one coming off that list though.
Well, that's why it's here.
Yeah,
you know, Scythe, Root, like they're here. They're games that I would play again, kind of like what you're saying with your 6 to 11 or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's just because I know you really enjoy Scythe, Root, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love those games.
Right, so that's why they're just ones that kind of
were. No, I mean, so far they make sense. Like, it makes sense why you wouldn't like them.
Just wait.
Right? Yeah, we're being nice to each other now until we get to the top 5. At least the top 5 for me are kind of like, I despise. Like I said, even 6 is a wavering. I probably wouldn't play it if someone, like, unless there was no other option.
My 3 and up are the ones that I cannot stand.
You'll never touch. Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right, my number 8 is a game that you showed me like the first couple times that we were actually doing game days, and this is I think the only game that I've rage quit.
Oh, Roll Through the Ages.
Roll Through the Ages. Yeah, I don't think I've ever I've rage quit one other game in my entire, like, I've rage quit video games all over the place, but board games I'll just stick it out. Roll Through the Ages was just pissed me off so much. I mean, just because it's dice. Like, it's, in all honesty, like I said, it's number 8. If someone's like, you can play that game in like 10 minutes, it wouldn't, like, I'd be like, oh, okay, why not?
Yeah, I play a solo game in 5.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, for me, it's like, I just got the plague over and over and over, and you're just like, oh man, look at this, oh wow, I got the pyramid done, oh I got the obelisk done, man, look at all these great dice that I'm getting, and I'm like, it's like, how? It's luck. The game is all luck. And it's like, man, look at that, I kicked your ass, you fucking suck. And it's like, no, I had no control over any of this. Like, God just hates my village, apparently. In all honesty, like, Roll Through the Ages probably should have been 10, technically, because it's like, it's such a blah, like, whatever. But my bad experience just makes me, it's just like, this is stupid, I hate this game.
Have you played Era? The Kingdom, the one.
No, the first con or whatever it's called.
Well, this is the Roll Through the. It's almost like Roll Through the Ages, but it has the plastic buildings.
Yeah, no, I have not.
I think you'd like that.
You think?
That's not as detrimental. Like the plague stuff is there, but it's not as.
Gotcha.
Hurt you nearly.
Yeah, because I feel like the plague wasn't it just negative points? Didn't I had like some.
There's negative points.
I had I won. I had the highest points if we were going negative. It was such a bad time for me.
No, Era. Like if we ever made a list of games that fired other games.
Oh yeah, like that killed other games.
Like, because I'm trying to get rid of Bronze Age now.
Really?
Because
Era replaced it.
Yeah,
gotcha.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I feel like that might work. I don't know. Like, I have to be in a very specific mindset to understand that everything's out of my control. Yeah. Like, it's just boom.
Well, the thing with Era, you have control because you actually you have a grid, and you're actually, instead of just checking boxes, it's not a roll and write. You're actually have to roll and build.
Oh, okay.
So you're actually putting buildings on there, and there's spatial.
Gotcha.
So you're like building actual 3D buildings.
Oh, okay.
And everything. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was gonna say something else, but I don't. Oh no, I was gonna say because like if it's out of my control, like with dice. What I like a lot about dice is the like War of the Ring, for example. It's like you roll dice, and those are the actions that you can take. I like that because at least I can decide and allocate how I want. But me just being like, okay, well, nothing there. Your turn. Not for me.
Yeah.
That's my number 8. Roll through the ages.
All right. My number 8 is a game that I've played quite a bit back in the day. But it's just frustrating as hell to play against people when they've metagamed it and spend a lot of money.
Oh, okay.
And it's Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering.
Like
that is a very good pick.
I like the system to a point, but it's
pay to win.
I mean, it's pay to win, and I know I'm probably alienating a bunch of your people, but it's a vile.
Oh, like group?
Group.
It's
like
a very
the hardcore, the casuals. I'm not talking about casuals. I'm talking, but
like the people who go to tournaments.
Yeah,
are
and
very.
It's not, like I've said many times, Netrunner stuff like that. I went to and everything. It's super friendly. Nobody's. Yeah. But you go and watch those things, and they're it's just mean.
It is mean. Like the local game stores like that, because that's actually how I got back into it. Was I went to a what do they fucking call it? Like a pre-order thing where you like a small tournament, and that was fun. Everyone was super friendly. Like because whenever I would sit down to play against the other person, I was sitting there. And I'm like, dude, I haven't played in like 7 years, and I'm trying to like remember. And they were all super friendly. But yeah, you're right. The hardcore people. I guess it's really for anything though. But yeah, they're pretty disgusting.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say now I only like Magic in one specific, which is Commander. Like I don't like Standard. I don't like Modern. I don't like any of that because that that is pay to win. Like, and that's like, hey, I spent $6,000 on the deck, and its whole purpose is to win in turn 2, and it's like, great. So we're not really playing, I guess.
Then it's funny because and I'm not 100% on the Magic timelines and stuff, but you spend all this money on a deck, and then there's rotation at some point, and then that deck's worthless unless you're playing on a legacy mode of some sort.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I think that's standard. It's standard, and one of those two is whenever it's like for the 3 or 4 months, those cards are tournament legal. Commander is the reason why I like Commander so much is because you pick a legendary creature as your commander. And you build a 99 card deck centered around that. And the game, you have 40 hit points. And the game, they're longer, but everyone almost gets a moment. Like the big swingy boom. Okay, if you guys don't do something, I'm going to win. And then everyone tries to, and there's negotiation. And like, it's everything in a board game and card game that I want. But it's Magic Gathering, so the possibilities are endless.
Well, and this goes a lot like with the BattleCon deal.
Yeah.
The 1v1 games. There's a lot. Different types that I would rather be playing.
And you don't have to break the bank for them.
Right. Netrunner was, everybody had the same playing pool, so it wasn't your ability to buy cards. Yeah. It was your ability to build a deck, but everybody had the same card pool. Yeah. So that's where that all came to.
And there, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's Pauper, which are just commons. That's like, hey, this deck, it was 40 cents. Yeah. And a lot of people really like doing that because it's like they like to make budget decks, so it's like, okay, what's the best deck I can make for $100? Right. But once again, those are kind of more casual players. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Magic, I would hate Magic if it was only go to a tournament and do it. It's like nope.
Well, and I've played the video on the Xbox, the Planeswalker. Oh yeah. Back in the day before they had their arena. And stuff, and it was fine. But it just it was. There's a lot of other card games I would rather.
I've thought about doing Arena because I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm like, no, I don't want to jump down that rabbit hole again. It never ends. All right. My number 7 is actually the only game that's on this list that is not on your top 100. Okay. And I feel like it might be. And this is actually the only one I hope you like. I know you've talked about it. But I have a feeling this game might be on your next top 100 this year. And that's Valhalla. Okay. Do you like that game? Yep. Okay. I was like, you're like, no, I actually don't like it anymore. It's like, shit! I have a backup. So Valhalla was, one of those games that, for its price point, you got a bunch of stuff. Like, that was one of the best things about it, was the fact that it's like, oh, for $100 you get 90 expansions. Well, it's like, well, they're all really mini expansions and don't they're there. This game was okay. Like, I felt like it was, I mean, because this one also included dice that you needed, the cards that you put into your little whatever army to fight other players. Like, you had to allocate dice people to attack opponents, and then, like, but you wanted your people to die to be able to get points. It was just and we actually incorporated like a few expansions, like Loki, I think Thor and Heimdall. A lot of, I think those were because they were all like little mini expansions.
Right.
And I think that's probably, those expansions might have elevated the game a little bit because it added some semblance of versatility. I can only imagine what this game would have been like, just base game. It would have been extremely dull. Yeah, like, and I just kind of felt like there wasn't a whole point. I didn't really.
Solo play is really fun. Did you ever try
I didn't like the game. Normally, if I try a solo, like, because for me, I don't buy games specifically for their solo modes. It's just, oh, I really like this game. Oh, and the solo mode's really good. If I usually don't like the base game with multiple people, I'm not going to try the...
Well, it was a totally different game almost. Because
really?
You had like the big beast, like Fenrir was the last one that got unlocked. So it was a big Fenrir solo boss. And you were playing cards against him and he would damage you and you do different stuff. It was...
That sounds pretty cool.
It was pretty neat.
That sounds a lot better than the PvP version.
But yeah, it'll be on my list this year for sure.
Yeah, I figured it would be. But yeah, for me, it just, actually for all of us, it just, we're like, okay, yeah, this is a game that exists. And it's not even really the dice. The dice actually, like, there were ways to mitigate the dice. I think what it just boiled down to was this game was virtually themeless. And I felt like there was also, in our experience, there was kind of a runaway victory because you could see the pile of all their dead heroes, and it's like, oh, great, okay. Because you also were trying to take people's shields. If you beat them, you take their shield, and I think once someone's shields were all gone, or when everyone's shields were all gone, then the game was over. But yeah, just kind of a virtually boring game. Solo mode sounds cool though.
All right, my number 7, I know it's in your top 100, but I don't think it's like one of your favorite games in the world, but it's on here because it fell flat for me and my wife, and that is Santorini.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot you guys didn't like that.
Well, we got it. I bought it. It looks, I mean, if you're just going by the look of the game, when it's being played on the table, awesome. It's really cool looking. Had been on the pedestal thing up in the air and all that. It's really neat looking.
Yeah, table presence is great.
Yeah, but my wife hated it, and then because she hated it and I never really got into it because we didn't use the Golden Fleece expansion.
Yeah, it's not
we tried a few different things, and maybe it was just the gods you
guys used. Okay, you did do the powers, right? Because you can play that game without them.
Yeah, we played
and it's
powers.
like, why the fuck would you do that?
One of the powers was just stupid.
There's
the
some
cap one where you just put the domes on top. That was one of the games, and then we played
I'm like,
that one
yeah, Cat hates. I think that's Atlas.
I can't remember.
I think because he can put a cap on any level. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I will say the company did come out with like it's not an errata, but they did say like essentially came out with a list stating, okay, these heroes don't work against each other. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
I think I remember seeing that.
And I think actually either it's in the expansion or just in the rule book it tells you, oh, don't do this one against this one because they're not going to be balanced, which is kind of a slight really on the company. It's like, well, why do you make those then if they can't be played against everyone?
Right.
But I don't think it's that they can't. It's just that you might have a bad experience.
Right. I mean, a positive for this game would be that the games don't last very long at all.
Right.
So, I mean, it's if you do have something bad like that, then that's what's going to happen. But this one, I mean, it's 3D chess.
A little bit.
I mean, not really.
Right.
So it's just, I mean, you're just making your moves, building a piece, and stuff. It just didn't hit for us. It was, it's not a horrible game by any means. It's not,
Yeah.
But
this is one of those games that Kat and I really like to play together because it's like the game is so simple. Just get your person to the top of a thing, but the powers really throw a wrench in it, and then the fact that it's like you can just build. Like if I'm a Jason and you're about to get, I can just cap it and try and stop you. So it's trying to get into the mind of the other person, whereas using your abilities to better effect. But I can see why that would fall flat for a lot of people. But I like that game, especially, well, you mentioned chess. Like, in the mindset of your opponent, okay, well, what can they do? What's their what's their move? This game doesn't have that much thought into it, so I like it.
I think a thing that would be fun with this game is if you were on a timer.
Oh, yeah.
Where you didn't have time to sit there, because that would make it even more interesting. Be like, oh crap, I need to hurry and just move and do that. That way you wouldn't sit there and really
think and either overanalyze.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't know, but
all right,
Santorini.
My number 6. I mean, it's going to be on this list at some point. It's a game I actually haven't played in years. So, in all honesty, I've just had a sour taste in my mouth of this game for the past 5 years, and it's Kemet.
Yeah.
Like, I played this game, and whenever it came out, I did play it multiple times. One, we did it at 2, and then I did it at 3, and then did it at 4. And each time it was worse and worse. So that's why I haven't touched it in so long. And it was actually a running joke for the longest time with the group, because I was the only one in that entire group who didn't like it. This game is it's so fucking dumb. I hate it. Like, I don't like, it's just fighting. That's it. You're just like, and it's like, okay, you're all the way in the middle of the board. Nope, I can teleport. It's like, just say, like, why have a board then? There's nowhere on the board, you're safe. So it's just constant fighting. And then I hated the card play, like where it's like, okay, well, this one allows me to save some people and attack yours. Oh, but I can put a secret card underneath. And you didn't see that, even though, of course, you saw me put a fucking second card under there. And then the only saving grace for this entire game are all those tiles, which are, I mean, kind of inherently racist, because they have a white power tile, and then they have
a black one too in the expansion.
Well, I haven't played the expansion.
The Talisman has a modular expansion that adds different stuff, and it adds a black pyramid, which you have to get rid of one of the other.
Oh, gotcha.
Red or white or blue you have to get rid of.
Gotcha. Well, I was obviously joking about the white.
Oh, no.
But, no, they have the white, red, and blue, and, I mean, they have a bunch, so you'd think that would be enough for me to go off of, but like, there's very clearly better tiles in those options, so it's like, okay, well, I'm always going to be going for this. And there we go.
One thing I would say that, because I obviously haven't played it. I haven't played it either, but I'm almost wondering if it would be how much fun it would be to do the set expansion.
Is it Seth? It's set, right?
Set sounds pronounced. Yeah, it's spelled Seth, but it's the one versus all.
Yeah.
And apparently Set is just a badass, and then everybody else is working to go against him and his minions. That might be a kind of an interesting way.
Right, that might be a different take on it. I don't know. I hated, because in war games, and this actually goes, the reason probably why I don't like this is because in most war games, Rising Sun, Root doesn't really work, Risk, I'm trying to think of other war games, Twilight Imperium, a lot of my strategy is turtling. And then just like, and you can't do that in this game. Right. So it's just like, there's no, I feel like there's really no semblance of strategy, because it's just like, okay, I'm going to move in here. Okay, this might be a good place to, oh, nope, you can just teleport there.
It's a timing thing with Kemet.
Yeah.
That's why I like it, is because every game I'm so apt to turtle, and I want to be aggressive, and this game taught me how to be aggressive.
Right.
So that was...
It's like, because in my mind, it's like, in a war game, just blindly running out and fighting doesn't ever do any good. So it's like, okay, yeah, you want to make sure you have your army, and then you want to go out and actually tactfully and strategically fight against your opponents. Nope, there's none of that in here. And that's why actually I don't like Battle of Five Armies either, because it was just constant fighting, and I'm like, this isn't as fun. War of the Ring has that slow burn with the different battles all over the place, and it's like, okay, like a lot of people hate the politics track. I love that. But with Kemet, it's just, I don't know. I don't like the teleportation thing. I don't like that the tiles are very, very swingy. in people's favors. And once again, I haven't tried any of the expansions, so.
Yeah. The one thing I think is cool about it is constant. You're just constantly doing stuff. But one thing I do like about it is the temporary victory points that you get from doing stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, if you hold like a obelisk.
Yeah, it's temporary if you get knocked out. So like you can have somebody that's almost ready to win. It's chaotic as hell.
Well, see, that's why. I mean, because you're talking about the temper. Did you ever play Inish?
Yeah.
Inish has the exact same thing, where it's like, okay, it's kind of a king of the hill mechanism. If I'm about to win, then you knock me off that obelisk or the temporary victory points, because the permanent ones were upgrading your pyramids, right? Like there were ways to get permanent victory.
Well, you upgrade, because however many, whatever number that was what. Gosh, it's been a long time since I played. Like what level of pyramid you could buy?
What kind of tiles you can buy. So you wanted to upgrade. Yeah, that's what I thought. So. So Inish does the exact same thing, and it's in a slower way, but you can actually be smart about it. And I don't know, I hated that sleight of hand. It wasn't even sleight of hand. Like I don't know. It didn't work for me, and to this day I still don't like Komet.
You didn't back the new Kickstarter?
You know, I thought about it. No,
because they were supposed to have fixed a bunch of stuff. I didn't back it because I liked the original.
There was no way I was going to back the new Kickstarter, and I think from what I saw, I feel like they got a lot of heat.
I don't like the art. The only heat was the only thing I saw controversial is that they made one of the gods Cthulhu.
Oh, that's what it was.
Fans got it to change because Cthulhu wasn't a.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, even I mean, I love Cthulhu and stuff like that, but even then, I was like, that's fucking dumb.
They made him an add-on instead of
it's like it's an Egyptian game. You stick with the gods in that. I will say that I actually, between Komet and Cyclades, I hate both those games. I don't like Cyclades either.
Inish was your favorite of those
three. Out of the three, yeah. But my number 6, Komet.
All right, my number 6, I hope you still kind of like. I think you do. It's fallen way off for me. It was a sequel to a game that I really, really enjoy, and it's Near and Far.
Yeah, I like Near and Far.
I
hate the campaign.
Right. There was several different ways to play it, I know.
Yeah. But since we did the campaign, I had played it just as standalone, and I really like Near and Far.
Yeah. Well, I don't. With this universe, because I kind of used to like that other one that you hated.
City of Iron?
Yeah.
Yeah, that game sucks.
And stuff like that. A lot of these games in this universe, and I haven't played the new one that isn't out yet.
Sleeping Gods?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, but Above and Below, if I'm going to play a game in this deal, Above and Below is it. Near and Far, mind you, I've only played the campaign, so I'm basing this strictly on campaign deal. It was horrible.
Yeah.
The race to the tents to finish it, and there was no... you want to play Near and Far because it was touted to have all this cool story and all this stuff, but then you're going and you're playing and people are just, I'm gonna go get this tent, I'm gonna get this tent, I'm gonna get this tent, and then game over.
Yeah, because the campaign was based around like whoever had the most victory points out of 10 games, and it's like, okay, well, if I want to win the campaign, then I'm gonna go for the trade routes.
Right.
I'm gonna race for the trade routes and race to get my. It's like it ended up being a racing game.
Yeah. So if I would have done like the character progression or whatever.
Yeah, I think there was a character mode, and then there was just like some adventure mode or something.
Yeah. But at this point, I'm not going to waste my time. Above and Below is still my...
Yeah, if I had only played the campaign mode in your case, I actually wouldn't like it either.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, because I remember the first game we played, where everyone was going after the story events and like getting side or keywords to expand and have unique story interactions. That's what elevated the game, and then it just got worse and worse with each, because now it's like, oh nope, I'm gonna get these cards.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, if you just play Near and Far by itself, it's great. Okay, good pick. Now, I know exactly what you're gonna say on this one too, and it's gonna harken back to another game that was on your list, on your list for Raiders of the North Sea. But my number 5 is Seven Wonders Duel. I hate this game. I hate it. I hate everything about it. It is funny enough. Who made Seven Wonders Duel?
That's Repos Productions.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. It's funny, though, because they just make Cosmic Encounter Duel, and I feel like when people take, like, multiplayer games and put that too, they're just like, what incorporates two... A duel!
Yeah.
And it's like, you couldn't come up with any other name? Anyway, Seven Wonders Duel, I despise. I hate that pyramid, or the whatever they call it, where the way the cards are played out. I hate how that works. It's not really drafting in any way, because you're just like... In a drafting game, like Seven Wonders, you have your hand of cards. So I can see everything that I'm handing to my opponent. So it's like, okay, they're kind of going military. So should I take military to defend, or should I take the science that I really want? You have those types of thoughts. In Seven Wonders Duel, you don't. You have, okay, well, they want military, so I'll take that one and whatever, trash it for a point or for a coin, or I'll keep it. And then it's going to reveal something else. It's like, oh, well, I had no way to plan for that, so great. Now they got, oh, wow, that's actually... I took the one military icon. That one has 5. Great. Okay, well, there's nothing I can do there. I hate it. I hate Seven Wonders Duel. And I know you're going to say, play with the Pantheon expansion. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I will try Seven Wonders Duel with the Pantheon expansion, because you say that will direct people away from just being like, what do you need? No.
Well, the god powers make the game interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it gives a lot more theme to it than just picking cards.
Right.
Yeah.
However, I at this point in time, I have not played Seven Wonders Duel with the Pantheon expansion. And even then, it's like, I don't know, like, because in Duel, you had multiple ways. Like, they had the military track, where if you push it towards their end, you auto-win. I think the science was a similar, if you get all the icons, then you auto-win.
A certain number of icons.
I don't like the auto-win. Like, and because I can only compare it to Seven Wonders, I like the fact that I can see you have a shit ton of science. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. Like, I can go heavy in just a bunch of religion, which are free points that could have totaled out to be more than what you got, or try and knock you down with military. It just feels more of like that true Civ game where it's like, okay, yep, science is a very heavy strategy, but if I go heavy military, who cares how scientific you are when you're all dead? Yeah. So
the one thing, and this one I will concede probably a little more than others, that this expansion fixes your main issue with the way you pick cards out of the deal, is because there's god points, I think is what they call them, and there's these little tokens that go on certain parts of whatever the design, because there's a pyramid, and I think it goes like different designs when you play, and so you're drafting stuff up to that point. But if you actually take the card that has that token on it, then that's currency that goes towards
like the god power,
taking a god power, and putting stuff. So I mean, it takes away from the I'm just going to start trashing all the cards I want.
So you have to actually take it and put it into your thing?
Well, or if it falls down, like if you,
So like if I had a token, I couldn't take it, trash it, and keep the token?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Because
that was essentially my problem, is like, if...
You have to take the card to get the token, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like in I don't know, I feel like in Seven Wonders, if I do that, if I'm thinking, okay, well, like, there's a card in my hand that you could probably get, or that would benefit you, but I'm using it to gain money. It doesn't feel as personal because it's a multiplayer game. But for me for everything to be, well, for some of the cards to be open knowledge, it feels more like a big fuck you when I'm just like, oh, I know exactly what you need. Boom. Right. It's like a stalemate almost. It didn't work for me.
I think the counterbalance to that, and the reason they make the designs that they do, is because if somebody's hate drafting, and doing stuff like that, more times than not, when they hate draft, 2 cards are going to flip over.
Yeah.
That just because they're hate drafting, it could be something awesome, even more power. I know not every time,
right?
But I mean, there's that chance. So if you're hate drafting just to stop them, then there could be something even better that pops up. I mean, that's kind of the, this is if we're gonna play a 2-player game, this is my wife and I's
your favorite
one. I mean, it's
I'd much rather play Seven Wonders.
We can play a game. It takes longer to set the stuff up
than it takes you to play it.
We can get through a game in 10 minutes.
Wow.
10-15 minutes is just throwing it out there, go down.
Yeah, honestly, I'd rather play the 2-player variant for Seven Wonders.
Yeah, we didn't like that.
Like, most people don't. I can see why, because most people don't really like the dummy player. I think it works because it's just like, I don't know. The drafting in Seven Wonders for me is better than just the open thing. So yeah, this is kind of one of those, like, yeah, that's why 6 and up, I don't think I'd ever play Komet again, honestly. Valhalla and up, I'd probably, if someone asked me, I'd play. Yeah, I can't. I mean, Seven Wonders Duel maybe with the expansion, but I'm not going to be happy about it. So yeah, that's my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is a game we talked about just a little bit ago. It wasn't on the list, but it was one that was just brought up. And it's Inish.
Oh. I didn't know you played Inish.
This is my least favorite of the 3.
Wow. Boo.
And it has a combination of I hate the art.
You're a terrible human being.
I just the art is.
I totally get it. I get it, man. I can't even explain what kind of art that is.
It's Celtic art. I mean,
is it?
It's old.
Okay.
Old,
that would make sense.
Celtic art, but it's just that they pick the ugliest shit. I mean, they could.
Did you see
putting that nasty lady on the front or whatever? They could have just put like.
Did you see the blue? They made a blue box.
Yeah, I know. There was
that one's way better than the first one. That ugly ass lady.
I didn't like the tile, the inside the art, even like the tiles and stuff. I didn't care for that. The weird ninja star tiles and everything. It was like, and
that's what they are. I don't get that shape either. I mean, I guess they lock in a little bit better.
I guess,
but I don't know.
They also can hurt the person that made it by throwing it at them. I guess too. I don't know. It just Cyclades was auction. And
I hated that bidding. Man.
I didn't like the core. I liked it with Titans and stuff.
Titans made it better because at least it didn't rely solely on you bidding. But yeah,
Kemet's my favorite of the 3.
Yeah,
Inish. It wasn't as helter skelter as Kemet, which is what I like about Kemet.
Close, man.
And again, when you have the thing instance we talked about a little bit ago, when you have Kemet, you have a guy, oh crap, he's at the point threshold.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fast paced and points are flying around. Inish, you're building up.
Mm-hmm.
You take him down, and then it's like, oh, now we have another fucking 45 minutes for somebody. It seemed like.
Yeah.
I mean, I only played it twice. And
I've played it a few, actually quite a bit. More. I've played Inish more times than I've played Kemet and Cyclades combined.
Right.
Inish, I guess it really comes down to play style. Like, it's funny, those 3 in the, I guess, trilogy, whatever. Kemet's the fastest. Cyclades is kind of really the balance because there is the battling and the war, but you can build up for your cities and you're kind of doing some area control with that. And then Inish is that King of the Hill, very slow burn because you have to meet 2 out of the 3 objectives. But everything is open to you. The only thing that's not open is the cards it's drafting. But even then, the only thing about that is you have, I think, like 16 cards or something, and you shuffle those up and you take 1 out, and then you draft. So like everyone kind of can know what you have. The only randomness in Inish, this is probably why it's my favorite, is the epic tail cards, the red ones, because all the terrain tiles that are out, the special abilities for controlling that, all open knowledge.
Right.
But you're right. Like, actually, probably out of all of these, Inish is the longest because of that. Okay, guys, all I can do on my turn is take this token and announce that I'm going to win. And I do not win until the whole round goes by. So everyone has essentially a chance to try and stop me from winning. But I think that's the brilliance of it, because you wouldn't do that if you weren't at least somewhat sure that you can stop people. And the last time I played this was actually, oh god, a year ago at this point, was at Gen Con.
Right.
And I remember specifically, we played with 5 people. And I remember specifically, the 2 brothers I was playing with, they dicked each other over so bad that I was like, they can't stop me. Like, no one can stop me, because the other people were just not really doing much. So, I don't know. Inish just works for me a lot more. And then whenever you smiled, I was like, that's probably on this list. Boo! Sorry, you got anything else? I was just explaining why Inish was great.
That's really it. It's my least favorite of the 3s. Yeah. And the art's probably what, sadly,
is what does it. Mm-hmm.
And it's so slow. I think the speed of it, slow, you know, I like a little more.
I would say the expansion, there is an expansion it's a modular one. I think it's been a while. One of the expansions I think actually shortens the game. But obviously we're not talking about expansions.
It's called the Praise Jesus expansion.
It's called the Burn the Game expansion. All right, my number 4. Don't remember where it was on your top 100. I hope it falls off because this game is hot garbage. I have tried this game multiple times when it came out. I tried it at Gen Con. And then months later, I was like, you know what? I'll give it another shot. And I bought a bunch of different packs from a guy. Tried it again. Still fucking hate this game. And that's Keyforge. Keyforge is a lot of people's end-all be-all, praise the Lord replacement for Magic. And by God, is it so fucking stupid. I don't think I've ever had fun playing this game. I have tried so many different decks. The only thing that people always say about it is like, oh, the barrier to entry is so low. Yeah, it's a you get what you pay for game. You pay $12, $10 for a deck. Well, you get a $10 shitty deck. There's just no creativity. What makes Magic so great is because I could spend a shit ton of money on a deck, but you could spend nothing and still build a better deck than me. There's none of that here. It's open, boom, well, sorry. Out of the quintillion fucking possibilities, I got the one that sucks. I don't know. I hate that. I hate the there's no synergy. There's no synergy between any of the 3 factions because you can only ever call out one of them. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna play Mars, so I can only activate Mars cards and play Mars cards. And it's like, yeah, if I have a bunch of Mars in my hand, then I can do a big swingy turn. But the fact that there's no synergy, so it's like, if I have an alien card that says the next monster you play costs 1 less, or it's like, okay, great. Oh, well, I can only do that with an alien card, so I can't do that to bring out one of the big fire guys for cheaper. There's just none of that. There's also no interaction between players, really, except, like, if I do one thing, like, let's say I build up my entire board. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Great. Awesome. Okay, your turn. I'm going to play this one card, destroys all that. Can't interact, I can't counter, I can't stop that. So it's like, I hate it.
And the thing with that, because...
and there's been a shit ton, like a lot of new big
there
boxes.
There have been, and I don't know.
I don't know any of
There's
those.
more factions.
Yeah.
There's more stuff, and I don't know what the interrupt deal is. I haven't played it since the first set. I didn't even get into the second set. I don't even own any of it anymore.
Oh, really?
Not that I mean, it fits this list. Because,
oh, okay, I was like, oh no.
Because
it's so high on my list, too.
This game is strictly to be played like the only way I would pretty much play this game at this point, and the reason I sold everything, is because one of the game stores that I used to go to in Tulsa, they would do a thing where you would have, tournament, 16 people or whatever. You buy a deck, you just play.
Yeah.
You're it's $10 entry. It's just lighthearted, stupid fun.
Right.
You can make fun of how shitty your deck. I mean, it's because it was most of the guys that I played with Netrunner and stuff. Sure. So it was just hilarious fun.
You're like, wow, this deck sucks.
Yeah, but it's just fun. You get to see other people's decks, and then that's it. And then you either keep the deck, you give it to some other give it to some kid that's there, whatever. It's just you just pay $10 for a day of fun.
Wasted $10.
You just spend $10 for a day of just playing games and doing different stuff. You trade decks, whatever. That's really, in my opinion, the strength of this game is just the free. Not to buy, because I was the guy that I bought 2 booster boxes and stuff. I had 24, about 30 decks by the time I sold it all. Yeah. And it's like, so you can still pay to play in tournaments because you just buy them until you get a deck with a bunch of stuff. Because there are cards, I can't remember what the hell they call them now, that were cross faction cards. So like you may have an alien card that is Maverick is what they were called, and it would be in like the deck for the other deals.
Same card though, but just different alien race.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Their Mavericks aren't exactly, they're not super common. Yeah. But they're there. Okay. It is what it is. Like I said, if you're just doing almost like a those magic nights. You know, they have those tournaments where you just open up 3 packs.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever, or however many packs.
Right.
That's what this is. To me, this is almost on the very lighthearted, just be drinking some beer, open up the pack, and just play.
Right.
Is it so simple to play?
I think at the same time, it was like everyone was raving about this and like kept comparing it to Magic, and because Richard Garfield, of course, made it. And it's like, it was almost a sense, this was early on when it came out, and maybe about a month after, and then no one talks about it anymore, but it's like the sense of elitism that people would have about like, oh god, Keyforge is so much better, I don't have to pay to win. It's like, no, you still do, like, because you can still just buy and then oh man, look, I happen to get this really great deck.
Right.
What? Oh, you spent $600 on it and all your decks suck? Yeah, it's just, and I don't like the gameplay at all. Like, it's not even so much the fact that the barrier entry, yeah, that's great. I've been bored every single time. I don't like sitting there and doing a big swingy turn, doing nothing really with that,
right?
And then just having it all wrecked.
It's not meant, in my opinion. Now there are people that take it seriously. In my opinion, it's not meant to be a serious played game.
Yeah.
You know, it's so simple that there was kids in these tournaments that I went to. There was, 7, 8-year-old kids in there playing.
Right.
You know, it was just a. I don't know how to really go. It was just an interesting deal, and the reason I think that it was so hyped at that time, along with being Richard Garfield, was that it came out in a time where there was a big vacuum for 1v1 competitive card games like that, because Netrunner had just stopped.
That's
Game
true.
of Thrones was going out. There was a lot of stuff, so everybody's like, what's going to be my play? That's why I went in on it. Because Netrunner went out. I was like, I got to find my replacement.
Find something else.
So I bought Keyforge. I bought the Warhammer Champions, because they both came out about the same time. I was trying to find that replacement for my lifestyle game,
right?
And it was just a minor, beer and pretzels card game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But I still hate it.
It probably won't be on my list much now, but
right. So number 4, Keyforge.
All right, my number 4 is one it probably should have been lower on the list, like around 7, 8, something like that. I was kind of kicking it. A lot of it would just depend, and it's Res Arcana. It's I'm basing on my play of having the bad deal, and and that's so. This one's possibly one that could definitely fall off. I'm just when I was looking at everything, and I was like, that's why I said 3 and up are ones that I won't mess with.
Oh, I see.
4 and down. Res Arcana, I like card games, and I think I had a lot of want to for this game.
Yeah.
And then just having that.
Yeah, you just had that kind of
it needs to, which you said, getting more cards in the card pool and doing different stuff like that's going to help and stuff. Because I didn't mind necessarily the gameplay. The one thing I didn't, it almost happened with our game that we played earlier.
Yeah.
Is if one person gets the cards that has that engine, then there's no catching them.
Right.
There's a runaway leader in this too.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Every deck, you can make an engine out of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But there's some that are just blazing.
Right.
And then there's some that take forever to go. They may give you a lot of points, but by then,
it's a very
taken.
Right. And I think that's kind of like. I think that's the beauty of this game, is because there are quick engines, but usually it's not going to be. It's like quick engine 1 point, engine 1 point, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do a slow burn and build everything up, and then okay, I'm gonna turn all this in, 10 points, I win.
Yeah.
Like,
I think if there's a drafting aspect, that might be a.
I don't know if they ever made a variant, but I do know that they added new magical items that, in your case, it was able to actually. It essentially kind of fixed that, where it's like, okay, I have a dragon card, but I have no dragons to use it on. Well, there's ways to actually utilize that dragon ability with one of the magical items or one of the places of power. Because ultimately, you're going for the place of power. That's going to be your ultimate kind of big engine that you work towards. But there's also the monument cards, which are either either points or some special ability, but also points. Yeah, I think this game is absolutely stellar in design,
and that's why I want to try it again at some point, just because The reason it's down here is because I was just disappointed. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody has talked it up so much. Then when we played it, it was just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, it was great. It was great for me, but even then, it's like I don't know what the final point score was because last time that I played,
You crushed me when we played.
Yeah,
It was
because I'm trying to
ugly.
think when Kat and I played. I think final score because you can also pass and get the first player marker, which is also a point. And Kat, I had so much going on to try and make things work that Kat always passed before me, and I remember there was one time, like I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, I think I can do this, and if I pass, then she won't have the point, and I will. But she kept, she's like, okay, I did this, boom, I'm passing. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't. I think the final score between her and I was 11 to 7. And she had a way better engine than I did, but mine was still pretty good. And the game doesn't last that long.
Right.
Either.
And that's one of the positives.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. My number 3 is another game that I played early on in my board gaming career and have not touched it since. And I absolutely also despise this game, even though you think I would like it, and that's Summoner Wars. Summoner Wars is, once again, a 1v1. We have a lot of 1v1 games on here, funny enough.
Yeah, there are.
Well, maybe not. Like, Seven Wonders Duel, Keyforge, and Summoner Wars. So, pretty much what it comes down to for Summoner Wars with me is, because there's a bunch of factions that you would think would be a lot of fun to play. And when I played this, I think it was the base game. Yeah, it was just the base game. Couldn't tell you what factions they were at this point because there's so many that I don't remember. But what I do
could depend on what you're going to complain about.
It's the combat. It's literally okay. I'm gonna move here. Oh, I think it was the vine people. I could put up walls of vines.
Yeah, swamp orcs.
And I don't remember who Cat was. But I do remember that whenever you're moving, your whatever, your gremlins around, your cannon fodder people, every combat came down to a die roll. Mm-hmm. I hate that. Why? There's no strategy. There's zero strategy in that. Because it's like, no matter how well I place my people and roll, wow, another 1. Great, fuck. Oh, you rolled 6? Okay, you killed him.
Yeah.
Hate it. Everything else in theory I like. Like, I love games with different factions. And while in the base game, in our experience, I don't think the factions were like, wow. They at least were different in some way. But to just simplify the 1v1... like where you have to be tactful and strategic and trying to, okay, well, I'm going to try and do this and see if that works. To have it boil down to a die roll, like, I don't even remember. I think a 5 or 6 was a hit and everything else was a miss.
It depends on who you're controlling.
Yeah.
It's usually 4 and up.
Okay.
Hit, but some would be 3 and up.
But I just remember the one time when Kat and I was playing, I always, 1 or 2, it was just always just bad rolls. And it's like, there's nothing I can do about that. This is incredibly frustrating. So it's kind of like you with Res Arcana. It's like since then, that's just left a sour taste in my mouth. That
I understand that. There's only one faction that because I've said this before, I play tested for a long time with Summoner Wars from the get-go. It was shortly after Core set on. And the Phoenix Elves were the ones that
That's right.
Because those are the ones that they had some units that you didn't even have to roll dice. It was just automatic damage.
Yeah.
And so that was the one that irritated me because, I mean, they were weak, though.
Oh, they were?
So they were easy. Like, their summoner, Prince Elian, or whatever his name was, he only had 4 hit points, where most of them have 6, 8.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, his would be like, his ability was if you're within 3 spaces, take 2 damage.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, and you don't even have to roll dice.
Yeah.
You know, so...
I think Kat, I think Kat had like a dragon.
Yeah, that would have been.
Because I remember she kept trying to, like, I had my summoner, like, surrounded by the vine walls, and she just wouldn't roll enough damage to be able to break through it, so maybe it was a bad matchup of factions, or a good matchup, I don't know.
It just all depends, because a lot of it's just your card draw, what units you put out, how much magic you get. I mean, because as you're defeating things, they go into your magic pile, you use that as currency to put things out and everything.
Yeah.
I don't have it anymore because it never got played.
Yeah.
I have heard through the grapevine that they're going to be releasing a 2.0.
Yeah, I heard that.
So I'm waiting.
You can
hear back.
You can jump all into that because
well, I think because
if their 2.0 just fixed the luck or mitigated.
I like the dice personally. That was.
But it's like it comes down to like
because if you don't have dice, then it's just chess with cards. I mean that I like that battle because there's the defense. There's stuff that you could do with the dice. I mean, that's fine. I have no problem with dice, but like you just have to. Okay, I do have a problem with dice whenever it's just roll and see what happens. Roll to resolve. That's boring. That's lame. It's lazy. Ultimately, it's just like you put all this effort into making these unique factions that okay, well, if I play whether it was Swamp Wars, like how would I play them against multiple different factions? That's what I like about the variety. But it's like it doesn't matter what I do. It's just roll, and it's like all right, I guess that was that. I don't know. Yeah, and most people roll multiple dice too. So I mean, right. But even then, it's just I don't know. It feels especially at this point, it's very dated. So maybe their 2.0, they're going to ramp it up to kind of where because like almost no game. Well, it's an old game. It is an old game. So I mean, if they're truly doing a 2.0, I have faith in Colby, Dow, the creator, to do stuff with it. Right. And I still play the app. Oh, okay. Today. Like I still get online. There's still a community. There's a bunch of people that get online and do online games, and we play and stuff. And it's right. It's still. I mean, I know it's fallen off on my top 100. Mm-hmm. That's because I'm only playing the digital because. Right. I mean, I might look at the 2.0 to see because I love cards. I love card games. We just actually the top 10 card games just went up. And I mean, because put it this way, Sorcerer. The combat is dice, but there's so many ways for you to mitigate that. So many ways for me to be like to affect your. Oh wow, you rolled really high. Well, good thing my faction happens to be centered all around Omen tokens. Okay, reroll that. There's a blank. Okay, you're like sitting there. Okay, well I'll reroll a blank. It's still dice, but at least there's ways to affect it in some way, and you can decide where damage is going and things like that. There's thought. Not the best thought, like, still the dice is my least favorite part about Sorcerer, but it's not, like, Sorcerer could have easily been on this list if it was just, look what I got. Right. You can't affect it in any way. I think that's really what boils it down for Summoner Wars, and that's my number 3. All right. My number 3 was your number 1 game for a long time. I hate you. You like this game. Don't even pretend. It's Talisman. You put that on the list just to spite me. No, that's your favorite game. If I wanted to play Monopoly, I'd play Monopoly. In what way is this game? I know. I remember hearing that for so long, and I was like, yeah, that is kind of true. But it's no, it's roll and move. I mean, that's really it is. Yeah, that's really the only similarity. And it has an outer edge. I don't know. Speaking of dated. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's. I have no desire to even touch anything like that. I even tried Relic, the newer version of it, and it was still... Yeah, I don't like Relic that much. Because you have to land on the exact right spot to get to the next ring. Right. And then you're kind of... If you don't roll the right thing, you're bouncing around doing stuff. I mean, that's more or less my biggest hate of it. Right. It's dated. Now, mind you, I haven't played all the all the major expansions. There's at least 10 because I've done the top 10 Talisman expansions, so there's at least 10. I've only played the physical copy once. Most of it's been I hate the digital. I hate the app, but it's the same game. I mean, it's just right, but there's just something you're still about rolling and you're still doing your stuff, right? So I know it's not the same, but it's just there. It's dated. I mean, it would be cool if they could come up with a. I know, and they lean into the dated stuff. They kind of do. Box arts and stuff. I mean, they lean into that whole 80s, like 80s fantasy. Right. Yeah. I don't know. Actually, funny enough, I played Talisman quite recently, actually, and because you would think like a lot of my tastes of what I've liked in games, 5-6 years ago, you think that would change, but Talisman for some reason just still always works for me. Because it's not so much about it's not about mechanics at all. It's really more about just the sheer variety and randomness and the things you're going to encounter. And that game, even though it's dated,
still kind of brings out the theme of what your hero is. And yeah, there's no true storytelling. It's that core fantasy that I just love. And now it's actually fallen out of my top 10 at this point, just because so many games have come out that just do what it does but better. But I can't imagine it would ever fall out of my top 10. One, for nostalgia. First game that I played that got me into the hobby.
Right.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I can't really explain it because it's just fun, and I love fantasy.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I love it. I can totally see why people don't.
Yeah.
Like,
it's definitely one of those that people, I think more people, and even I think a lot of the people that you see talking about not liking it haven't even really played it though.
Probably.
I think it's just people that hear people talk about it all the time.
Talisman sucks, and it's like, I will say though, the people who comment on my Talisman, they really love Talisman.
Oh,
they'll actually like.
It has its fans.
I mean, now, granted, is that just the base game?
That's all I played.
Oh, okay.
I mean, now I will try Star Wars Talisman if it makes it overseas,
right?
Because I just because I want to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you're a huge Star Wars fan, and I gotta say, like, base Talisman, I will never play Talisman without all the expansions,
right?
Because that's where the true variety comes in. You can go anywhere and do whatever, and there's like 68 fucking heroes. It's just great. I love it. All right.
I know your top 2. I just don't know what order they're gonna be in.
Do you know my top 2? My number 2 is Proving Grounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
I'm interested to see what you thought.
That throws me for a loop then, because I was pretty positive of the 2 that.
Huh. Keep those 2 in mind.
Yeah.
I hated Proving Grounds. You talked it up so much at it being like a. I know you do. That's why, because like you talked up so much at being like and this is going to come down probably actually to my complaint with Summoner Wars. You talked it up so much about the tactful nature of like fighting an arena against multiple opponents. And I know there was some. They're not expansions, but they were like variety, like modules that you can play. I did not play with all of them. I just did. I think I just did the base game. It's the dice. It's literally like, okay, how well am I going to do? Well, hopefully the dice are in my favor. Well, they're not, so I died.
Well, it's time. You can just keep re-rolling them and rolling.
It is time, but it's like you still have to allocate them a certain way, and it's just like I can't remember how long the timer was.
1 minute.
1 minute, yeah. It's like the dice were. It's just like oh god, I need to. Okay, I'm gonna sign that here, and then oh wow, time ran out. Okay, I killed one guy.
It was like Project Elite only solo.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's just like you couldn't do enough in the time that was allocated. There was no way. I mean, yeah, I guess there's the mitigation. It's just a constant rolling. But you're surrounded by so many enemies that it's like, okay, well, and the deck is random too, so how those come out, it's like, wow, okay, this one requires 3 dice. Oh, another 3 dice, another 3 dice. Okay, well, I have a minute to try and kill him. Oh, but if this guy deals 2 hearts, that one deals 2, that one deals 1. Okay, I'll try to kill the 2. Man, I didn't get the results I needed. Guess I can't kill him. I hated this game so much, man. It's just... I tried it. I was like, okay, I'm going to keep trying. And it just never worked for me. The dice never went my way. So I didn't have fun at all playing this.
Warp's Edge is getting ready to deliver the Kickstarter, the next the Renegade solo.
I was like, I don't even know what that is.
It's the next. It's a space.
Their solo thing.
Solo series.
Yeah,
it's really good too.
I don't know. It's so hard, but in not like it's like a lazy hard. It's just like, okay, it's like Ghost Stories. It's like, how can we make this challenging? Well, have it rely solely on the randomness and luck. It's like, okay, but how can we interestingly make this hard? It's like, oh, I have no idea. Just make them roll dice in a minute. We'll just make it a minute. Like 2 minutes probably would have been a little bit better. I would have been able to actually like allocate dice where I needed to, or give me more chances to roll to try and kill the hard people that randomly come out. This game was just pure random.
The one I haven't tried yet, the module expansion, is the one that actually positioning You have to
you have to actually turn
to the stuff. I haven't tried that one yet because it's hard enough.
It's probably impossible because you probably still get a minute, so you have to fiddly like move your person. Nope, Proving Grounds did not work for me, and I despise it.
That was one I wasn't expecting. My number 2 is the Big Daddy, Gloomhaven.
Oh, okay.
Now I know we're going to be trying out
try Jaws of the Lion.
It's good, more of a beginner intro kind of thing, so I'm hoping that...
You know what I think? You know what I'm hearing? All the games that are on this list, you're playing with the group down, like our gaming group. I think they just suck. They just suck. No.
But yeah, Gloomhaven was one. I've tried it a couple times. The hand management is rough for me. I'm hoping that
we'll see.
And reintroduction with the Jaws of the Lion may change. I don't think I'll ever buy the like if I enjoy Jaws of the Lion, I'm not gonna buy the big deal because I'll probably be satisfied with
Jaws of the Lion.
Whatever. There's 13
scenarios.
Yeah,
I think there's like 20
or maybe that. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to buy the game that has 90 scenarios and like Isaac Childress has made like 40 more for free.
No, because I don't.
I
don't know. Like I said, I'm going to do the campaign of the Jaws of the Lion deal. Totally blank on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping it's going to approach it with the new. I'm going to go into it like a new player.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that'll help me understand the hand management better.
Maybe.
I mean, because the hand management's what killed it for me, and everything. And it's been on these crap lists several times, so it's not a surprise that I don't like it. But maybe it'll change.
Yeah.
You know, we'll find out. I mean, I know
and that's one that still boggles my mind because. It's like if you were to say, oh, it's extremely fiddly, there's a lot of little rules, that I totally get. There's a bunch of that. But the hand management, that's the best part, the most innovative part of that game.
I think it's a combination of hand management and the way that your hand is the timer, and it doesn't like I understand the fast resting. Yeah, but you shuffle everything back in your hand in Fireteam Zero. You don't lose a card completely out of your deck.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
true.
It's like when you fast rest, I can understand dropping a card, but the slow rest, I don't understand why you still have to get rid of a card. Like you're losing your turn or whatever. You should get everything back and go. That's the part that does not click here in my head.
No, actually, I will actually agree with you on that part because there's times where. Because it's supposed to be that your heroes are not invincible, that they wear down over the course of the scenario. And that I totally get. Where I agree with you with the long rest, it's like, because normally you're long resting most likely when there's no enemies around. My problem, and one that I've been playing back and forth of house ruling, is if there's no enemies on the board, that you don't have to play cards to move.
Right.
Like, you can just almost kind of, like, fast forward. Like, you can... Because, like, looting is also extremely difficult in the game because you have to specifically spend a card to do it. But it's like, if I kill all the enemies, why can't I just pick up all the loot?
Right.
And I've thought about... But I don't know if that would throw the game out of whack because now it's like, maybe I have an extra surplus of money. But it's like, I feel like... If I want to loot while there's enemies, I need to play a card to do that. Because it's like, oh, hey, I know you're attacking me, but I really want this money. I've thought about just like, boom, killed all the enemies. Because most of the goals of a lot of scenarios in the game anyway is kill all enemies. So if I do that, and like the doors don't automatically open, I have to actively go there and do it. It's like, I should be able to take a breather, freely pick up the whatever loot, and just move to the door.
Yeah.
I might try that on a scenario. There's another one where people were like, if you take like 10 damage, you can lose a card to not take any. And I've been playing it where I just discard the card. And I remember someone kept on one video, she kept fucking like bringing that up. You know, maybe you should learn the rules before recording. It's like, listen here, dumbass. I fucking know how to play the game. I actively choose to discard because it's one and the same anyway. I'm losing a card.
Right.
When I shuffle these cards, I'm going to have to lose a card anyway. It's like, why should I double lose? The game's already difficult enough to where... Anyway. There's a lot of, I think, leeway with house rules in that game. But that's one I will wholly... I love the actual losing cards, but whenever there's no one around...
Yeah. Like I like the way that you put 2 cards down, do the top and bottom. I like that. That's awesome. I like being able to kind of figure out what you're gonna, you know, and how they're gonna fire and all that stuff.
Right.
And I understand the fast rest.
Yeah.
It's just that slow rest.
Yeah.
It pissed me off because my guy had 11 cards in his deck.
Right.
And then the every scenario I played, we'd get to the very end room to battle, and then I would just lay over because I was by the time
you couldn't play 2.
By the time I got there, I was down.
Yeah.
And then I just sat and watched the other 2 guys.
Right.
Until they barely made it with their cards.
Right. And there's definitely a balance to it. It thematically is pretty cool because you're not just running in, yeehaw, just gunslinging and tearing down enemies. If you get hit, you either take damage or you lose a card. If you're running in and spending all, just boom, 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 I think that's where the synergy of players come in. Because it's like, in my solo experience, my sorcerer almost always would run out. But because of everything I was able to do with her, my brute was able to finish off the scenario with quite a bit of cards left, but he also had more. But I also think what's really cool and great about Gloomhaven is as you level up, I don't think you lose cards as quickly. And I'm going to give a few examples because I knew Gloomhaven was going to be on this list. There was a small percentage that I was like, maybe you won't because you are doing Jaws of the Lion, then maybe you were like, well, I might like it, so Gloomhaven. But at this point in time, you don't like it. But here's what's cool. 1, the sorcerer, spoilers, I guess, she has a card in her base deck. And who do you play?
The big dude.
The Earth guy?
Yeah,
the big Earth guy? Okay.
With the
Cragheart. Oh, the Brute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brute.
Yeah, he's fucking cool. But anyway, the sorcerer, she has a card that comes in her base, set, which is recover all your lost cards. So she essentially, I think she has 8 cards total. She essentially has 16 or 15 because then that card goes away. Well, as you level her up, then there's another card that says take 2 cards out of your lost pile. So now she has an engine, and you don't have to build this way. That's what makes this game great. You can build in any really way you want. But now it's you hold on to that 1 card that says take everything out of your lost pile, get all those back, and then that card's in the discard pile. Then you play until you're almost lost. Then you keep the card that lets you pick 2. You take the card that, and then she'll always have a cycle. But what's also great about her is I've built her kind of to be a summoner and a healer. So now my brute, who has a bunch of health at this point, he can take 10 hits. Okay, now she'll just heal him. So now he'll always have a bunch of cards. So I think the initial problem, because you think, like, did you guys ever level up?
No, we just did 2 scenarios.
Okay.
I don't know how much further they went. I played 2 scenarios and I was done.
Yeah, so I think that's a big part because, like, she would pass out every time. But now they grow and they evolve, which is pretty cool. So, maybe Jaws of the Lion will fix
I'm
that
hoping
for you.
because with it being a beginner intro, because everybody was saying, it's a good intro, family intro,
fantastic
like
tutorial
the first 4 to 5 episodes are kind of learning.
They kind of hold your hand. I think Tom,
and then after 5, you're on. So that's why I'm kind of.
I think Tom Vassell was like, he's like almost 100% sure you cannot lose the first scenario.
Right.
So. We shall see.
Yep.
All right, well, I know what your number 1 is then.
Well, I thought I knew what the number 1 was. There's a possibility of 2.
Okay, so what do you think number 1 is?
Well, it's either Spartacus or Arcadia Quest.
Okay, it's Spartacus.
Okay.
Blood and Sand. Arcadia Quest, no, I actually don't hate that game.
Oh, I know.
It's... because I did, but then I played like the Inferno, and I was like, okay, this is kind of fun.
Gotcha.
So it was considered, though. It was on my short list. But Spartacus, Blood and Sand. God. Well, first of all, I want to say I think they're actually retheming it. They're about to remake it.
Well, it's just going to be redone. It's pretty much going to be the same game minus
it's not with the
minus the
photo stock.
Yeah, it's going to be like art.
It's just okay. One. I mean, that's not going to really change anything about my thoughts. I think it'll make the game a little bit more appealing instead of following that shitty, soft-core HBO porn show.
I didn't mind it.
It was bad. It was bad. It was Game of Thrones Season 8 bad. Because, actually, it was better. At least there was... Anyway, no. This game, I hated everything about it. I hated. Funny enough, the top three, just rely solely on kind of like luck, and there's just once in our experience, once you got that badass fucking like gladiator, there was nothing. There was the game was basically handed to you. Now, in maybe the game's defense, we played it at 3, which with more people.
It'd make it really, really long with it.
It would have made it, yeah, so that's also a negative. But at least it wouldn't have just been me trying to kill your guy. But every time you also had higher victory points. So it's like, okay, you just choose to the fight. Okay, well, obviously you're picking me and Kat. And it's like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. So even when we did fight you, you were just stronger and better and had more dice to allocate. And it's like, well, we can't kill him. I don't have any money or anything to hire someone better. Turn order. There's a good guy out there. Oh, but you got him too. Or Kat got him, so then I'm like, I'm miserable.
I think the one thing with that game is, and I know it won't happen but the more you play it, like, because that's where I was at a big event. I played it a lot.
Yeah.
So I knew to hoard the money.
Oh, yeah?
You know, because money is more important than it lets on. I mean, because auctioning is such a big thing in that game.
Right.
Because, yeah, you do the market and you auction for all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But then you think that's the most important, when actually the most important is trying to be the dominus to be in charge of the gladiatorial combat.
Yep.
Because that's where you want to have the money.
That's right.
Because then if you spend it on the market, you're not going to have money to do that, and then you may get thrown in.
Yep.
The deal. So you kind of want to,
and you constantly lose your people.
There's a part of there's a really narrow tipping point of when you need to know to really just start going for the dominus.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
and then it's a strategy of, okay, I might want to put myself in there because I do have the good guy. I'm gonna win and get me another victory point.
Yeah.
Or I may have you guys go in and just
watch and be like, haha, you guys killed each other. Yeah.
That's the deceiving part, is winning those dominances are the most important part of the game.
And that could be kind of like what you were talking about with Root. It's like, well, I don't know my faction, so I'm having a miserable time.
I think it rewards more play.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But even then, it's like, I feel like, because there's also can be extremely cutthroat, which also, I don't mind cutthroat games if either that's kind of what the game perceives itself to be, like Cutthroat Cabins, for example. It's like, I know going in that someone's going to dick me over at one point. It's just win. And it's not, it doesn't hurt as bad if someone does it.
Right.
But it's also like, I don't know, the game was also just extremely swingy that...
It is. It's not a perfect game.
Yeah, so this is, like you mentioned, it's Ameritrash true and true. And I guess I'm just kind of like, I like my Ameritrash, but I want it to be a little bit more Euro-y. Which were now I'm glad at this point in board gaming those two terms are almost obsolete. Like now you're kind of getting a mesh of both. But yeah, I absolutely I didn't rage quit, but I was miserable the entire time.
Well, the funny thing was I ended up winning that at the very end, but because I threw my Gaius badass in there with your weak, and you almost beat me. Remember, it came down to just a few dice.
Yeah, I think because you also had a lot of defense. Yeah,
you almost beat me still, even with your crappy guy. Right. Just because I wasn't rolling shit and you were doing fine.
Right, so I'm like, oh great,
it's a dice.
Because I was sitting there and I'm like, maybe I'll get to kill him because like you got him early.
Yeah.
And it was like you never got items, you never got anything better for him.
There is nothing about that game that's not random. So that's the thing. Like, and it's truth. What goes out in the market, the dice, the cards that interrupts, I mean, everything's random. That's why I don't play it a ton. Right. It gets played maybe twice a year.
Yeah,
and that's about enough. You know, it's one of those games, and almost every time I play it, depending on the situation, it's one of those at the end. It's just like the stand up, big dice roll, everybody's cheer, and everything, because it's just one of those crazy random games.
Right. Yeah, kind of like what you like so much about it is everything that I like about Talisman. Everything's random about that game too. Yeah. And people can go after and kill you in Talisman, but it's like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. This one just...
Well,
I also don't like the theme at all.
Well, and I will say that this game is I made the mistake one time of pulling a dickish move, like second turn of the game.
Oh yeah.
And I went against somebody and screwed them over. And if you do that early, then nobody did shit for me. I was literally nothing that entire game for 3 hours.
Right. Oh yeah. That's the
so
other thing.
You really gotta watch yourself.
It's that's the other thing. Is it's
pull that dick move.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like Game of Thrones. Like if you betray someone early on, if Rising Sun's the same thing. If you betray someone, people are gonna be hesitant to work with you.
Yep.
But yeah. So that's my number one, Spartacus. Blood and Sand.
Blood and Treachery.
Blood and Treachery.
Blood and Sand's the new one.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, tell me why you hate Pandemic.
Oh, which one?
Do you actually pick a specific one?
What I wrote down is everything Pandemic.
You cannot talk about Legacy. You haven't played those.
I played the Legacy one.
No, did you finish Pandemic?
No, I went through 4 months, and then we dropped it off.
Probably because
Amy hated it, and
you played half of okay. I still wouldn't call it, because like Pandemic Legacy 1 doesn't ramp up till probably actually where you quit.
Yeah. Well, it was hard because I don't like Pandemic.
Yeah.
And then we was like, the hype was so much for Pandemic Legacy that I bought it. And Amy, of course, doesn't like Pandemic either, so we tried Pandemic Legacy.
Well, your wife doesn't like she doesn't like co-op games?
She doesn't like co-op games, but she didn't like this just because I thought since she's, a pharmacist, she likes those kind of movies, the outbreaks and all that stuff. Oh, gotcha.
But, interesting.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know what it was, but so you had two people that don't like the system it's based on, or the theme of the system it's based on, because I like Defenders of the Realm.
I was like, you like Defenders of the Realm, you like Forbidden Desert.
Yeah, so but it just didn't, I don't know. We waited through a few months, and it was just like, I don't want to finish this.
Yeah.
And I do, we had a discussion about the Season 0.
Yeah, their third installment. It's actually a prequel to the first two.
Right,
which is interesting.
The theme of that's going to get me to try it.
Yeah.
I don't want to try it with Amy. If I tried it with somebody else that...
no, it'll most likely be me, you, and Kat.
Right.
Maybe my friend Devin, because he actually did Season 2 with us. Right. And he was like... He hasn't touched Pandemic since we finished it. He's like, I hate it. But he's like, I could probably warm up to that.
I like The Cure is the only Pandemic game I like. The DICE version. But yeah, it's... I don't know. And then it just was more and more irritating as they kept throwing every stupid themes on it constantly. They gave it the love letter treatment of throwing just every theme on it you possibly could with the same game.
Yeah, they really did. Like, at first it was fine. Like, the Reign of Cthulhu, Iberia is the best one. Yeah. I love Iberia. Rising Tides is trash. I fucking hate that water one. Rapid Response, I really like. It's not Pandemic in any way. They're at this point putting Pandemic just on things. Right. But the real-time one is a lot of fun. What's the latest one? North America.
Well, there was the Roman one.
Follow Rome, actually, I think you would like, because it really doesn't follow the general, same format as the rest of them, and it has a solo mode, which I guess technically they all kind of do if you control. But as a true solo one, mode, and then North America is the one they did that was basically regular Pandemic light, and I'm like, what are you doing?
So like I said, it's just I
think you are the only one that I know that doesn't like Pandemic. Like, even then, I see a lot of people who mention they don't like Gloomhaven on the groups on Facebook, but I've never seen one who says they don't like Pandemic.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. It's not that I haven't. I mean, I've played it a bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, the base game with On the Brink and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I went through and done it. I even have the app on my deal. I tried to download the app. But messed it because it was free at one point.
Yeah.
I don't know, but then it's odd because then Defenders of the Realm and stuff like that I'm all about. I don't know what
if it's
maybe
theme?
It could be, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, because I remember you said
it's a lot more card driven though. I mean, I know Defenders has card placement and stuff too. I just don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, because the card, because Pandemic I love because it's a hard game, but it's an ebb and flow kind of game where it's not just brutally bashing against you each time. It's just like, okay, this is really bad, but we have ways to probably mitigate it.
And maybe it's just because it's those fucking cubes instead of miniatures.
Maybe,
I
the
don't
pawns.
know. I'm not saying it's rational hate, but
right.
But yeah, we'll give Season 0 a try.
Season 0 try, yeah.
Hell, you never know. Jaws the Lion in Season 0 may flip.
Yeah, flip, and you're like, I see it now. I get it. These games are great. All right, so those are games that we don't like, but the other person does. Let us know what you think of the games that we talked about in general. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.